Good evening. You're watching News 9 Live. I'm Shweta Kothari. Here are the top stories we're tracking at this hour. The Nifty index closed above 26,000 mark for the first time today, driven by strong performances in the energy, metal and media sectors. The Sensex gained 256 points, finishing above the 85,100 mark. Key Nifty gainers included Power Grid Corporation, NTPC, Axis Bank, Grasim Industries and Bajaj Finserv, while LTI, Mindtree, Tech Mahindra, Tata Consumers, Tata Motors and Titan Company were among the top losers. And gold rallied to another record high of $2,670 per troy ounce today after an unexpected drop in the US consumer confidence data on Tuesday, increasing bets of more aggressive easing and deeper interest rate cuts from the Federal Reserve. Lower interest rates are positive for gold as they reduce the opportunity cost of holding the non-interest paying asset, making it more attractive to investors. Hyundai Motors India Security Market Regulator SEBI's approval for its $3 billion IPO after the company filed draft papers in June this year. The IPO will be India's biggest ever issue, beating LIC's $2.7 billion listing in 2022. In June, the auto giant filed draft red herring prospectus with SEBI targeting a valuation of $18 to $20 billion. Budget carrier SpiceJet aims to take off with its expansion plans, eyeing additional 75 aircraft over the next 2 years through recently concluded 3,000 crore rupees QIP. Now, CEO Ajay Singh emphasized that decision to raise this amount was driven by airline's robust expansion strategy designed to increase the current fleet of 25 to 28 aircraft to 100 within 2 years. India's defence production hit a record high of 1.27 lakh crore rupees in 23-24, with the country exporting military hardware to over 90 nations. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh announced today the milestone aligns with the 10th anniversary of Make in India program under the NDA government. You're watching In Your Interest. I'm Shweta Kothari. Having more education was once considered a sure ticket to landing a good job. But in India, the irony couldn't be more striking. Those who spend years in classrooms earning degrees are often left waiting in unemployment queues, while individuals with fewer qualifications are managing and finding more work rather easily. The promise of higher education seems to be breaking, leaving many asking, why are the most educated among us struggling the most to get jobs? Well, the data is coming to light through the Ministry of Statistics and Programming Implementation, the MOSPI, which released the latest periodic labour survey data from 2021 to year 2024. The figures show that the unemployment rate among educated individuals is surprisingly higher than those with no or little education. Now, for context, educated individuals are defined as those with secondary education and above. Now, in 2023-2024, the overall unemployment rate for individuals aged above 15 years and above with secondary education or higher was 6.5%. However, on the contrary, the unemployment rate was just 0.2% for those who had no education whatsoever. Now, interestingly, data shows that unemployment rate ironically goes up as the qualification of individuals rise. I repeat, the qualifications of individual rise and the data for unemployment rate also goes up. Now, those who were illiterate, the unemployment rate was just 0.2%. For those who studied to primary, the rate of unemployment rose to 0.4%. And for those who studied above and up to middle school, the unemployment rate increased to further 1.4%. And finally, the most educated individuals had an unemployment rate of alarming 6.5%. As educated unemployment continues to be an issue, gender disparity among those who are educated yet unemployed is also stark. The data shows that from 2023-2024, in rural areas, unemployment rate among females with secondary education or higher was significantly higher than their male counterparts. Talking numbers, the unemployment rate for educated rural females stood at 9% compared to 5.6% for rural males. And in urban spaces, this gap widens further. While the rate of unemployment for educated males was 6.2%, unemployment rate for educated female was more than double at 13.3%. Let's also now talk about unemployment in different states. And surprisingly, Kerala, which has the highest literacy rate in the country, had the highest youth unemployment according to the PLFS survey data. In 15 to 29 years of age group, Kerala recorded an unemployment rate of 29.9%, with the joblessness rate among females at a whopping 47% and males at 19.3%. But guess which state recorded lowest unemployment rate? Well, it's the state of Madhya Pradesh with unemployment rate of just 2.6%. The PLFS data recorded male unemployment at 2.8% and female unemployment rate at 2.1%. As for the Union Territories, Lakshadweep topped the list with the highest unemployment rate of 36.2% in the 15 to 29 years of age group. To put these trends into perspective as to what's really happening here and whether more education has a direct correlation with unemployment, joining us on the show is Pragati Sharma, founder and MD, I4 HR Consulting. Pragati, thank you very much for taking time out, ma'am. I want to begin by asking, how does one really understand this educated unemployment conundrum? We're looking at trends here and they are extremely surprising. Would you therefore say, going through all this data that has come out, that more educated people are finding it more difficult to find jobs?
Shweta, thank you for pointing out. It is alarming data. Must confess that this is very, very surprising given the emphasis on education that we have, right? I think the seed of it all is also in the emphasis and the importance we as a culture give education. So parents want their children to be at least undergraduates, if not postgraduates, and hence the focus is on getting the degree, not necessarily the requisite skills that are required and that are employable. So the degree comes, absolutely it comes, but does the job come along with it? Huge gap there. And that gap is, I think, a subset of about 4 or 5 factors. One is the education system misalignment. I think that's the word I would use. The traditional education, especially in the states that you mentioned where probably it is higher, they have had the same curriculum, the same way of teaching for decade, maybe 2 decades plus. And hence the entire bit of practical skills that are required in today's modern workplace are just missed out. And this is not something new. This is something we probably heard again and again, that up-to-date practical skills in all our curriculums are completely lacking. Okay. The second is the industry and the academia divide. While there have been efforts and a lot of large companies have started literally headquarters inside campuses and large campuses, long way to go there. I mean, there is a total disconnect between what the industry needs and what the educational institution teaches. More so because the technology is changing so fast. By the time I take admission and I'm out of a course in, let's say, 2 to 3 years, the necessities that are required for a continuous upskilling are totally lacking in these educational programs. And so one is struggling from day one, even at the interview stage, to prove that even though, yes, we have done, let's say, simple courses like engineering also, are you ready for that particular job that, you thought you will get after 2 to 3 years? Answer is absolute no. I think more important, and the one that we don't talk about as much, is the soft skills deficiency.
Okay. I won't go into details of all of this, but something interesting you mentioned. You said that the education system, perhaps in some of these states, is not equipped enough to deal with what is the need of corporates, what is the need of companies who are willing to hire some of these, freshers, people who have been graduate. Do you believe that the education system is fast changing now with the new education policy, or there is not enough being done? To what extent do you think education system is matching up to the need wide gap for skilling?
I think they're struggling. They're struggling a lot. We see that probably, I think every month when either a student comes to us saying, okay, I've graduated, I'm a postgraduate for that matter, I'm not getting a job. But more importantly, we see campuses reaching out to us. Especially after the government has launched internship programs, apprenticeships. I mean, I think 7 or 8 schemes that the government has launched to help youth find employment. But the gap is just becoming so large because technology and soft skills, these two as a combination, are still not addressed by most campuses.
Okay.
Therefore, it is very difficult to find. Simple graduates are lacking in skills that affect their employability, right? And I'm not talking of only English speaking. I'm talking of, let's say, problem solving, working in a team, simple communication, which is not, like I said, language, but on how to express a certain, statement or a problem, or even email writing and communicating on how you're going to solve. So these educational institutions don't realize that by the time the child is going to finish the course, what is it that they will need? And with automation and digital transformation and AI, it's difficult to keep pace.
Absolutely, and it does look like the degree is not keeping pace. What is the significance of a degree in all of this, Pragati? Because I think it's very important from a point of view of an average individual in this country. We put a lot of emphasis on getting that degree, on going to college, on getting that postgraduate degree and graduate degree for most of us, for that matter. Now, in a situation like this, where you have more graduates who are unemployed vis-a-vis people who have little to no degree, what is the significance of a degree, and do we really need one for an average individual watching this broadcast and whose children are going through school now, to make them future ready, to make them employable? What other options should they be exploring?
Well, there are many options, and I think these options have already started being explored at school level. So for us in India, most of the private schools that you will see till 12th grade for that matter, in large cities also you'll see that example, they have started focusing on, okay, you're studying in school, but you have to do extracurricular. You have to go into debating. You have to figure out whether you can do an internship or summer project. You have to expose yourself to NGOs. Just throwing them out of the school in a way that they get exposed to the real world. And I think once they start coming to college, there that suddenly stops. So there's a mandatory internship that probably all of us went through and still go through. However, whether there is a real life problem given with a existing corporate saying, okay, solve this problem, whether in a group or alone, a live problem, is still completely missing. So degree is important. I'm not saying that, education, we have to get away with certificates or degrees. The fundamentals are still there. Fundamentals are still important. But replicating those fundamentals into practical use and practical training is where we're just seeing a huge gap.
And before I let you go, I think it's also important to find out, I'm sure you've been speaking to a lot of these graduates who are looking for some sort of guidance on where to make a career, how to make a career. What, according to you, are some of these key skills that graduates lack today that perhaps companies are definitely looking for? It's an absolute mandate, but colleges are not teaching to young graduates. What are these key skills that you believe should be taught before one is job ready?
I will only say 2, because I think there's a laundry list, but I would focus on the 2 most important. One is attitude, complete attitude of learning, right? I think when we graduate, our attitude has to be that I have to still more. I have to work hard. I have to take ownership for my career. If any corporate or any employer sees that, they will invest in teaching you. They will invest in making sure they will have the patience that you pick up the skills that are required, even to stay with that particular organization. The second is, I think most important, indispensable is tech. Right? There is no function, no industry, nowhere can you basically pick up any job or go for an interview if you say, oh, I didn't know that tech is relevant to my field. Yes, it is relevant. How is it relevant? What are the implications? What are going to be the future skills requires in use of tech? That clarity has to be there, because if you are not clear about your learning path as a graduate, right, then no one else can help you. I think every tool is available to you today. You have internet, you have chat GPT, you have so many resources. 20 years back, they didn't even exist. So do your homework, understand the career that you are choosing, what are the future skills that are required, invest in your learning even after you graduate. Every interview, prepare for it, keep studying. Don't stop studying just because you got a degree.
All right. And I also, I think it's also important to point out in all of this, Pragati, and I told you it's the last question, but I have to ask you, because a lot of people are looking at numbers coming from Kerala, where employment rate is the most compared to, other parts of this country. I think it's the most educated state, continues to be one, yet the unemployment rate for women in particular is a staggering 47%. What's really happening here? Why is there a disparity between how females are employed vis-a-vis how males are employed? And do you believe at this point that we are still dealing with sexist workplaces? Perhaps when a young person goes to get a job, their gender is also taken in account?
So again, I haven't seen the data, to be honest, Shweta, but I can guess two things, right? One is most of the female workforce in Kerala, if we remember, used to go outside India in the as medical staff. So whether it's nurses or whether it is just assistants in a hospital, I think most of this ecosystem has drastically changed in the last 2-3 years. So I don't know if the government data accounts for India employment or outside employment, but definitely the soft skills there have played a huge role, right? And a lot of roles that used to require a human being now don't require that. So it's not maybe so much to do with being, a gender getting affected, but what jobs that gender used to traditionally get into and how that has evolved. And again, the skills have changed.
So essentially, it's not that workplaces are sexist, but it looks like traditional female roles are going away and perhaps technology is replacing them.
Yes. More that. And obviously, we can have a very long discussion on gender bias and inclusivity. But keeping that aside, because we're discussing the job skill gap, my guess would be that, in Kerala especially.
All right, Pragati, thank you very much, ma'am, for taking time out, for joining us with your insights on that very important story. We are, of course, talking about unemployment data. We're, of course, talking about unemployment data that has come by the way of periodic labor force, throwing up some very stark figures on the connection between unemployment and education in India. But shifting focus now, Coldplay's upcoming concert in India have stirred a frenzy that goes beyond just music lovers. There are 3 performances scheduled for January 18th, 19th and 21st of 2025 at the D.Y. Patil Stadium in Navi Mumbai have sparked massive demand, not only for ticket but also for hotel rooms as well as flights. The scramble for tickets began when they went on sale through Book My Show, the official platform for Coldplay's Music of the Spheres World Tour in India. Now, all 150,000 tickets sold out within hours, leaving countless fans extremely disappointed. Now, this intense demand drove many to explore alternative options, and this opened the door for ticket scalping or black market reselling. Now, resellers are now taking advantage of desperate fans in India, listing tickets on secondary platforms like Viagogo at astronomical prices. For instance, tickets originally priced at 4,000 rupees are being resold for as much as 7.7 lakh rupees. And the lounge tickets initially priced at 35,000 rupees are now being sold for an upward of 1 lakh rupees and above. However, fans should be cautious as ticket scalping is illegal in India. The Consumer Protection Act and sections of the Indian Penal Code prohibit the resale of tickets at inflated prices with penalties ranging from fines to imprisonment. Book My Show has also warned against purchasing tickets from unauthorized sellers as they may not be valid and fans could be turned away at the venue. Now, another nightmare of sort is also getting a limelight, and that is hotel booking on dates when the British rock band Coldplay is due to perform in January. It's nearly as challenging as getting the entry ticket for the performance itself. Major properties such as Vivanta by Taj, 4 Points by Sheraton are either fully booked or have drastically increased rates, sometimes by even 10 to 15 times the usual prices. A room that typically costs about 12,500 rupees a night is now going for as much as 1.8 lakh rupees a night. Even the more modest hotels have significantly raised their rates, with price ranging from 7,000 rupees to up to 50,000 rupees a night. Additionally, airfares to Mumbai have also shown a spike for the concert dates in specific. According to data on the booking sites of individual airlines, a Delhi to Mumbai non-stop flight during peak hours, which is 8 am to 10 am, is available at 6,000 rupees as against 4,400 rupees. A Bengaluru to Mumbai direct flight is available at 6,100 rupees as compared to the normal rate of 3,800 rupees. Now, in response to the ticket shortage, Coldplay will release infinite tickets or infinitely tickets in November, offering a chance for fans to attend at more affordable price for just 2,000 rupees per ticket. Now, these tickets, sold in pairs, come with a catch, and that is seat allocation will be randomly assigned and revealed only on the day of the concert. For fans, the excitement surrounding Coldplay's concert is undeniable. But amid the soaring prices and legal risks of black market ticket trade, it is essential to proceed with caution and avoid falling victim to scams or hefty markup prices. It also requires questions on ticket scalping and predatory pricing, especially for a tour that is much awaited by fans in India. And with that, we've run out of time on the show. Thank you very much for watching.
Quite lived up to their pre-tournament billing, delivering a series of less than convincing performances. With 2 draws and a solitary win.
Your son will be Messi. No studies, just football all day. Go, my son, go. Make my face shine through playing football.
Not only your face, but also the country's.